Hello. Hey, good morning, Internet. Uh, welcome to Never. I'm sorry. Welcome to Nothing to See here. And I am shooting today from the front of the house, not the backyard, because I don't know. I just thought to change it up for a bit. I wanted to shoot it with the natural lighting, just because the sun's about to rise. Right now, it's approximately like 06:38 hours, I think, and I don't know what time exactly the sun rises, but I'm gonna do a quick turnaround so you guys can see what I can see. Look how beautiful that looks. That is nature. Let us enjoy it until the day that we cannot anymore because of our own very own doings and our very own choices. With the USA being the king of the pack. Although, who knows, maybe places like the UAE and Qatar and Saudi Arabia might be topping off on the charts because of their vast wealth and black gold. But one thing the United States does have is its geography. Just like how in Colombia we have such biodiversity because we have the beginning of the Andes Mountain where it's tall and you have all sorts of things that live up there that normally wouldn't live down by the sea level. And then we have places by the coast that are by sea level. We have both the Gulf of Mexico, which goes into the Atlantic Ocean, and we have both the Pacific Ocean. That's why when you talk to some Colombians, they claim that Colombia is the number one biodiversified country in the world. But I think that's up to debate because when you talk to other people, they'll say their country is the number one biodiversified country in the world. I forget which other one is the other one that they say is the most one. I think it might be mm, not 100% sure. But anyways, so I woke up. I actually showered this morning. I don't shower every day. So that person who trolled me the other day when I said laugh out loud, I meant it because that is so accurate. I do smell like ARSE a lot of the times. And no, I was not ungrateful for the present UMF. What happened is that we have a tradition in our family. Well, I'm gonna make it a tradition, which mom started. Mom started a tradition where if she receives a present that she doesn't like, she'll try to return it, exchange it, or just regift it. So all I'm doing is just following in her footsteps, following in her legacy. Now, if I wanted to be mean, I could say that a stupid MFing troll like you would not understand the concept of respecting one, you know, honoring your parents because you're probably an orphan, you stupid FUCK. So, yeah, you struck a nerve. If that's what makes you happy, I hope you're happy. Well, I really do hope you're happy because why not? Everybody deserves a chance, at the very least, at peace. We should be living peaceful lives. I just said that part because I got trolled and it actually never quite happened just yet because I don't have a big presence. I don't have a huge uh how do you call it, digital footprint. But I guess when you leave you know advertisements, or what do they call them? Not advertisements. When you leave classifieds in places like um, Craigslist, you're bound to have some people that have things that they want to say to you. The beauty of the internet, right? People can be anonymous as they want, and essentially receive no repercussion for it. Sounds like me when I was like 14. I would go into chat rooms and pretend to be whatever. Now at this point in time, I could give two less F's. The internet, if it was to go down today, yeah, I would be sad. But you know something? I just go outside and start walking, start talking to people, just like how we used to do back in the days. Back in my times, before all this Tinder and eHarmony and whatever those things are called, we used to do a thing called going out, which meant that you would kind of get dressed to look nice, to look decent, to attract someone of the opposite gender or whatever gender is your preference. You would get dressed, you would go out, you would go to a place, usually they were called nightclubs. Sometimes maybe it could be a restaurant, and then after a certain hour, they turn on music, but they still serve food. But usually with nightclubs, they sell a drug, really a poison. They sell a drug there called alcohol. People would consume mass amounts of this drug so that they could get loosened up. There would be usually a DJ per room because sometimes a lot of these clubs had different rooms. They would have like the place where I went to. They had like a Spanish room where they played like salsa music, and then they had the main room where they played the hip hop music, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not saying it hasn't died out. I'm sure there's still a lot of people that do it. I just don't. I don't participate anymore. I don't have a car. I don't have a steady job, and I'm not in a position of life where I can enjoy such how can I say it? I can enjoy such joys in life when my main priorities are just trying to be well, try to be good in good enough health to where I can be a good father, a good husband, a good son, and I really have to work on being a better brother because both my sisters, Alex never really cared for me. She was too what they would say in Colombia, she's too poopy. In other words, she like if you don't dress nice enough, or and I'm sorry, Alex, if you're taking offensive to this. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible. But like if you have any traits or anything that you disagree with, or you don't like, that's somebody that you don't surround yourself with, which is actually respectable. But at the very least, if it's a family gathering, families are effed up to begin with. That's why they say you choose your friends, not your family. And and part of the reason of that is so that it helps us as individuals, in my opinion, to accept all kinds of people in this world. That's why families are so important, so that we can learn to be accepting of one another. If we can learn to accept our weird Uncle Steve or Uncle Bob or whatever, then we can almost learn to accept just about anybody else. So, my sister Alex, ever since she bought her house um, up in North Broward, I haven't been to it not once. I know one of the trees I planted, allegedly it was planted at her house. I don't know if she's taking care of it. I hope she is, so that it grows to be, it grows to bear fruit. Granted, it'll probably take like 10 years at the very least, probably maybe 14 or so. My other sister Laura, she's more compassionate. That's why I say when um when it's her time to go, and I'm not saying it like you're gonna go anytime soon, Laura. I'm just saying it because everybody's eventually has a time that they have to go. She will be the one in our family, our immediate circle of family, that's going to be the saint of the family. Just like my tia Luisa, she was the saint of the Guevara's family. Her last words before she passed were this: "Who's going to take care of my brother Pepe?" Which goes to show you, instead of thinking about herself, she was thinking about her brother and who's going to be giving care of him. She was a nurse by trade. She liked to watch soccer, which I thought was awesome. She really enjoyed it. And she was just the nicest person, one of the nicest persons you could meet. She was very well mannered, um, very decent person. And then her sister, my tia Emilia, was a little quirky. I should say, she was a little quirky because I think it has part to do with her personality. Both my aunts were single. They lived to a ripe old age, and I did say that correctly in the last video. Um, they lived to a ripe old age. I think they well into their 80s, and my aunt Amelia would have gotten married, but back in the times when she was young, it was considered taboo for interracial marriages, and the person that she fell for was someone that was not of her, let's say, skin color. So at least we made some progress in that aspect, right? Or well, to the general, to the popular, I'm gonna say to the popu, to the popular population. In other words, because you know how they have the popular vote, and the popular vote has beat every single Republican president that has won because of that so-called what do they call it when a certain group of people pick the president? Oh, the something college, the electoral college, which is just something that the founding fathers said that yeah, this is a democracy, but can you really trust people to elect the right president? So they put a loophole in there saying that there's going to be something called an electoral college, which is going to pick the president. So in other words, the president here in the States is not won by who gets the most votes. It's won by this weird system that we've had for hundreds of years, which is completely outdated, and a lot of people want to do away with it because it's just ridiculous. Because like I said, I think out of like the last 7 presidents I recall, every single one that won the popular vote was a Democrat. The exception being was, I think, George W. Bush after um, his term when 9/11 happened. And the reason why was because people were feeling very patriotic. They a lot of them supported the war over in Iraq or Afghanistan or both places, whatever, because they wanted to get retaliation for the so-called terrorist attack, which is such a dumb thing because the CIA knew about it. The CIA had in their possessions documents saying that there are these group of gentlemen of so and so, origin. Let's just say I think they were either I don't know if they were Pakistanis or Indians or one of those places. And what they would do is they would learn how to take out the plane, fly the plane, but they never learned how to land. Come on now, you know? They could have at least interrogated those dumb FUCKs and said, hey, how come you guys are taking classes at this airport? And it was right here in South Florida. It was at Opelika International Airport, which is a military airport, and that's where they learned. That's where they took their so-called flying lessons. Yeah, flying lessons that forgot to include how to land a plane. So, for all of you conspiracy theorists out there that want to say that the government knew about it, I'm not going to say that they knew about it, but I'm going to go as far as saying that it's something that could have been prevented if just the proper resources were given to whomever it was to investigate such matters, to find out why these people are learning to fly a plane, and they're learning how to take off, how to do things like autopilot and then steer the plane, but then they don't learn things like how to land the plane. How are you gonna learn? How are you gonna fly a plane if you can't even land it? It's just so dumb. That all it was a justification that Dick Cheney fabricated so that he could get revenge for someone who he priorly worked for, which was George H.W. Bush. That's why I say George W. Bush was a pretty cool person. He was mostly like a puppet president. A lot of things that he did that were done in his administration, they were done at the will of others. If it was up to him, our country probably would have been better off than the fact that we had a vice president who has been compared to evil. I don't know. They say that every year in the House of Congress, they mention the word Hitler so an X amount of times for some reason. What they need to do is they need to mention Cheney an X amount of times every time, because I'm gonna go on a limb over here, but there's a possibility that because of what he wanted to accomplish, and now this is true. This is all allegedly. I'm not saying any of this. This is actual factual matters, but because he allegedly wanted to get revenge for his the person whom he worked for, whom I'm guessing he still had close ties with, and was advising him on the side. Said, "Hey, we got to get this guy for whatever, whatever, whatever," because the United States used to actually help the Bin Laden family back in like the 70s. They used to supply them, I think it was either with guns or with some kind of resources so that they could build their empire. And that's how they built their empire. They built roads. The Bin Laden family is a wealthy family. And they had close ties with the U.S. government, which just makes you think more of the fact that this could have been orchestrated. You know how they say sometimes that fiction resembles reality? This is just like that Iron Man movie where they had that so-called terrorist, which was just an actor who was an addict, and they told him that if he did this, they would give him beer, drugs, and sex. But then they used him when they needed to so that he could record like a message to make it seem like he was like the real culprit behind the whole operation, when in reality it was the scientist that Tony Stark had said, "Meet me in the roof at so and so time," and then he never met him. It's something similar to that. But anyways, it's probably getting closer to get to 0700 hours. Today's not a day to water the trees, but let's go ahead and the video by showing you the trees. Today is the 1st of February, so our first tree has turned. It was 10 m, now it's 11 m. Here we go. There she goes. And what is it we're gonna call her? We're gonna change his name from I don't know. 7-Eleven would be a cool name. Here we have the 22nd. Here we got 22. Look how she grew up to be a beautiful tree, but it's not going to be able to be one that's going to be climbed unless you have those special things on your feet to and then a rope around your waist to climb a tree. Even though there are some people that can climb trees just like this without anything at all. I've seen it done before. One time when I was visiting Barranquilla, this guy literally climbed up a tree that had just one trunk, and he climbed up to it to get the fruit off of the top. It was amazing. It was the most amazing thing I saw. It was like he was like not Spider-Man, but it was like he was like part animal almost. And here we got Semilla, which we can still see Semilla right there, and the trunk that grew. Which, if you guys watch the previous videos, you can see you'll remember when all she really was just a semilla with roots in the bottom. There's the trunk that came out. It came out kind of to the side. And let's see how tall she's gotten. Let's do a comparison to see how tall they all are. Alright, as you can see, the tallest one is 22nd, 11M, which or 7-Eleven. I gotta decide on the name. If someone can help me out and give a name to it down in the comments, that would be great. I haven't received a comment yet. Well, yes, I have, but I would like. It would be nice to receive more comments so that maybe I could just interact with more people. But at the same time, I really don't even care because that just means more people I have to communicate with. But yeah, so there we go. We got all three of them in the pots. And then we got Survivor right over there. I'm not going to walk all the way there. So this video has lasted damn near half an hour, 23 minutes. We're on the 23rd minute. So everybody have a wonderful Wednesday, I believe it is, the 1st of February. And enjoy your day. Make it a peaceful one and be kind to one another. I love you guys.